Hello there, you're watching Your Trades on ET Now. This is Priyanka Uppal along with me, Snehi Shah. Markets opened above 25,000 and stayed above 25,000. What a great day in terms of for banks, financiers, in fact, power financiers, vehicle financiers, home financiers. The whole day we saw many financial stocks were buzzing. Banking stocks were back in action. And what? Guess what? A small cap index, Snehi, it's another record high today. So a lot of action from the broader markets. But then two sectors, clearly they were outperforming today again. Pharma space and IT, they continue to hit the record high. Pharma space, in fact, gaining from last 3 months, if you talk about, they've surged nearly 20% in the last 3 months. And of course, many reasons. The dominant reason which comes out to be strong Indian business growth, which is led by many companies like Sun Pharma, Lupin, Torrent, and other companies from the pack. But then 2-3 packs were clearly gaining today. We saw Tata Group stocks were a buzz today. Group has made 20,300 crore of its repayment of its debt, and that's what has helped it avoid the mandatory listing of Tata Sons, and hence we saw outperformance in stocks like Tata Investment, which was nearly 20%. It was in fact close to 20% circuit only. Then we had stocks like Tata Elxsi, which was more than 14% of surge we saw in the 16% in fact. Tata Tele, Tata Tech. So many of the Tata Group stocks were in over the moon, in fact, we should call it. But good day, great day, and the other stories which we tracked were, of course, the way Z zoomed later in last 15-20 minutes when we saw that the company entered into a settlement with Sony. That were the main highlights. What did you catch? Actually, a lot of action which is happening from the mid-cap space, Snehi.
Absolutely, and well, a whole host of stocks to talk about because you had a bunch of these stocks touching upper circuit also today, 20%. On one hand, you had a lot of stocks, in fact, and let's take a look at all of these big buzzers first of all, because when you take a look at all of these stocks, you have a lot of action coming in from the brokerage front as well. But well, yes, Zee Entertainment and Sony. Now, Zee Entertainment was in focus because they have agreed to settle all of their pending dispute cases with Sony. They have voluntarily withdrawn all of those cases, and that stock has ended with a gain of roughly 10% in today's trading session. So, Zee was in focus. You had Medi Assist Healthcare that was up 8.5% on the back of the acquisition of 100% stake in Paramount TPA that they announced for roughly 300 crore rupees. So, that stock also did pretty well for itself. It was up almost 8.5% in today's trading session. Brokerage counters, then we had a whole lot of brokerage action coming in this morning, and lots of stocks were in focus, but not much momentum coming in. But well, we did see some uptick coming in on JSW Infra after Jefferies initiated a buy target at 375. Overall, also Jefferies bullish on the entire ports space in India. So that was the note coming in. You also had NBFCs and real estate that were in focus. Morgan Stanley came out with a note on Nifty Realty as well, and JP Morgan on ONGC, JP Morgan on Tata Motors, BofA on Indus Towers. You had Nirmal Bang on Amber Enterprises, CLSA on DMart, JP Morgan on Indegene, and also ICICI Securities on CDSL. So CDSL did see some slight pressure coming in today's trading session because ICICI downgraded CDSL to reduce from a hold with a target price of 1,320 rupees, which is much below the current market price. So CDL also recovered towards the ending of the trading session, but was well under pressure throughout the course of the day. But well, yes, lots of stocks to talk about. Lots has happened in today's trade because we also seen 2 block deals take place. Tata Tech and Trent, 2 major block deals. Shriram Finance was the one Nifty stock that did pretty well today because the management said they expect 15 to 16% AUM growth in Q2. So that stock also held up pretty well. 2% uptick coming on that front, and Datamatics Global, of course, locked up in upper circuit 20% because they collaborated with Microsoft. But let's take it across to Vaishali Parekh, Vice President of Technical Research at Prabhudas Lilladher, who is joining us to make sense of the trading day we've seen today and what to expect in terms of levels going tomorrow. Vaishali, hi. Thank you so much for joining us on Your Trades. Give us a sense of the market day we've seen today, because at one point we were 5 points away from a record high, and we have sharply receded from that, but somehow managed to close above 25,000. So what are you expecting going into tomorrow's trading session? Do you think a fresh record high could be touched tomorrow, or are you seeing a bit of sluggishness when it comes to the Nifty?
Hi, very good afternoon. So I think market is going to take its own time because we are seeing a non-stop one-way move coming in Nifty itself. So at these high levels, we can see some little bit of resistance, but we still have our projected target of 25,300 levels open for this coming week. So I would say that view is positive, and we have our support levels elevated to 24,750. So that would be the range. In between whipsaws cannot be ruled out. So yes, our view is positive for 25,300, but in between, little bit of a dip to a slight sideways move cannot be ruled out.
Okay. All right. Your views on the indices. Vaishali, then what would be your recommendation? Many of the pockets, sub-pockets were clearly surging in trade today.
So yes, of course. I mean, just before I joined, you all were talking about Tata Group. So yes, they look very positive. Tata Power, to say even Tata Technology, technically very well placed, and well, even the banking sector is now coming out of the range. So the frontline private sector banks look pretty good. But as a trading strategy, there are few stocks that come in the mid cap sector as well. So one of them is Bombay Dyeing, because just during the latter part of the day, while we were seeing a close, we saw a good volume surge and a good candle formation. So Mumbai Dyeing is one of the stocks to my liking, with a strong support at 215. This is likely to go towards 240 to 245. LIC Housing is another stock that is technically very well placed, and I think it's ready for a bounce. So we have seen a good close after the stock has come out from its oversold zone. So I think this too can go towards 700 level. So LIC Housing is another stock to my liking as a buy strategy.
Shali, on that note, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for taking the time out, sharing your views on the index as well as the stocks that you're recommending to our viewers. But on that note, in fact, let's keep it going with all the technical chatter. And now we have Shrishti joining us on the show to take us through the two stocks that she has spotted on the technical charts. And Shrishti, I'm assuming breakout and breakdown both, given the trading day we've seen today.
Well, certainly it was indeed a volatile trading day for the markets, and indeed we have seen moves coming in on both the sides. Firstly, today let's start with a breakdown stock, and this one is from the large cap space. Have a look at Titan, because what we have spotted is a triple top formation coming in for Titan. What we have seen is that every time the stock touches near around 3,500 odd level, the stock does face some resistance, and even today we have seen that happening with a big red candle for Titan coming in, and it was indeed a bearish engulfing candle as well. The stock have seen and made this particular formation, and hence we have spotted this one as a breakdown stock. Moving on to the breakout stock for today, and indeed have a look at Sun Pharma, because pharma sector was in the pink of health. We have been highlighting that strong moves coming in on the pharma space, but for today Sun Pharma was gaining ground, hitting its all-time high levels. Other than that, what was interesting to see that after this particular breakout around that 15 or 1600 odd rupees, the stock has been on a continuous uptrend, respecting its key moving averages, and even today's move was very well supported by a long build up on the derivative side. So these are the two stocks on the breakout and the breakdown side. Back to you guys.
All right, breakout stock from the pharma and breakdown stocks from the consumption space, especially the jewelry counter. And we saw many of the other stocks from the sector were on the declining side today. Thanks very much, Srishti, for the update. Let's get your word from the wise. We had Prateek Gupta today speaking about the PSU basket. Prateek Gupta, who's a CEO and co-head for Kotak Institutional Equities, says that he's bullish on PSU banks, especially after the turnaround the stocks have witnessed. But what are his views on defense PSU space? Let's listen in.
The PSU space is too broad a brush. There are obviously depends on which sectors they're in. So, for example, the PSU banks, I think most of them have turned around in terms of the balance sheet quality, the asset quality, the credit costs are now under control. They have a much better liability franchise than many of their private sector counterparts. So the PSU banks, in our view, we still think generally quite decent. On the other hand, let's say the defense stocks, the defense PSUs, these are also great businesses from a very long-term perspective, 5-year, 10-year perspective. We think the defense cycle is going to be very strong. But in the short term, these stocks have run up very, very sharply. They've been some of the best performers. So at current valuations, most of these stocks are trading for anywhere between 35 to, in some cases, 55, 60 times 1 year forward earnings. And that we think is quite expensive for a sector where the orders tend to be quite lumpy. Margins keep going a little bit up and down. There's a lot of volatility, and most importantly, this kind of growth in the order book may not sustain after the initial bump ups, and a lot of the forward growth, the next couple of years growth is already being priced in. So the defense PSUs are one segment where I would say be a bit cautious. Oil and gas, another segment where we would be a bit cautious.
Okay, that's the word coming in from Pratik Gupta. But let's talk about the primary markets, because IPO activity on D Street is surging once again. August has been the busiest month this year so far, with companies raising more than 16,000 crore rupees thanks to the likes of Ola Electric and Brainbees Solutions. But what have the trends been like over the years? My colleague Somit joins us to take us through all of these interesting trends. Somit.
Primary market in the month of August has been very busy. Nearly 9 companies have raised money so far in the month of August, which is the most that we have seen since February 2024. In Feb, there were around 11 companies that had raised close to 7,500 crore rupees. However, the fund raised so far in the month of August is still higher at close to 16,275 crore rupees. Now, this fundraise amount of 16,275 crore is the highest that we have seen since May 2022. And in May, there was around 29,500 crore rupees of fundraise done, but most of this had come in from only one IPO, that was LIC, which managed to raise close to 21,000 crore rupees from the primary market. As you can see in this chart, around 9 companies have raised close to 16,275 crore rupees, and back in May 2022 there were around 8 companies which had raised close to 29,511, of which 21,000 crore rupees was raised by only one company, that was LIC. Moving on, if you look at the biggest IPO so far in the month of August was Ola Electric, which managed to raise close to 6,100 crore rupees, followed by Brainbees Solution, which is First Cry, which managed to raise close to 4,200 crore rupees. Now, another interesting fact about the IPOs that have come so far in this calendar year, that is 2024, nearly 49 companies have managed to raise close to 52,600 crore rupees. But on the positive side, nearly 50% of this fundraise that has been done is via fresh issue. Now, this fresh issue has been used by the companies for debt repayment and the capital expenditure purpose. Now, this fresh issue amount that we are seeing, nearly 50%, is the highest that we have seen since 2012. In 2012, nearly 65% of the funds raised was used for fresh issue, was via fresh issue, while the remaining 35% was offer for sale, where the promoter or the existing investors were offloading their stake. And in this time, around 50% of the fundraise is via OFS, where the promoters and existing investors have sold their stake. Now, which are the best IPOs so far in 2024 that we have seen? And we are comparing the issue price compared to the current market price. Now, if you look at office space, now that has seen a gain of nearly 135% compared to its issue price. Unicommerce followed by a gain of nearly 109%. Then there is Bharti Hexacom, TBO Tech and JNK India, which have gained anywhere between 83 to 101%. Now, this does not stop here. There are nearly 22 companies which have received SEBI approval for IPO as per the data that we have seen in Prime database. And some of the interesting names here are Bajaj Housing, Asirvad Microfinance, which is an NBFC arm of Manappuram Finance. And then there is Bazaar Style IPO also, which could come in going forward in the rest of the calendar year, that is 2024.
So a lot of action from the primary market. That's what Somit was reporting. Thanks very much, Somit. We stay for a short break here. More to come on the other side of the break. We talk about derivatives. We have a lot many other stories which are buzzing today. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back. Still watching your trades on ET now. Good to have you back. Let's take a look at the derivative action that we saw in today's trading session. And first up, for the August expiry this Thursday, we're seeing flat moves coming in for Nifty as well as Nifty Bank. Remember, yesterday we did see some long building up coming in on Nifty Bank, but right now that has also turned sentiment and is being reflected as flat. When you take a look at India, Wake slightly cooled off today to 13.6, so that was a positive indicator for the market move today. And in terms of the call and put, let's see where active calls were being written. For the 29th August expiry, call writing was being seen at 25,100 as well as 25,200, making 25,100 your next resistance level to watch out for. And on the put side, put writing being seen on 25,000 as well as 24,900, making 24,900 your support. So, well, 25,100 on the upside and 24,900 on your support are some key levels to watch out for on the index heading into tomorrow's trade.
All right. So, of course, this was it was Fin Nifty expiry also. That's what we saw the stock surging in. But then trend looks flat right now. Of course, are we in for some consolidation? We'll have to see. Vaishali was also indicating Now, moving on to another key stories for the day, Medi Assist has announced that its wholly owned subsidiary Medi Assist TPA has signed a definitive agreement to acquire Paramount TPA at an enterprise value of 310 crore, making it one of the largest TPA deals in India. Shesha is here to tell us more about this deal.
Well, absolutely. This is one of the largest TPA deals that have happened in India at a valuation, equity valuation of about 400 crores and enterprise value of about 300 odd crores. Paramount, remember, is the 5th largest TPA in terms of revenue and premium, and it will help Medi Assist in increasing its market share. So as far as group segment is concerned, Medi Assist market share is expected to increase by about 6 percentage points to 36.6%, and for health segment, market share is expected to increase to about 23.6%. As far as valuations are concerned, the deal equity value of 400 crores implies about 2.5 times FY24 sales and about 39 times FY24 price to earnings. Now, analysts believe this is a positive. They say deal is expected to be EPS positive, and FY26 EPS on account of this deal could increase by about 12 to 15 odd %. But remember, this acquisition has been done at a higher valuation as compared to the recent acquisitions that have been done by Medi Assist. So, for instance, Raksha, the recent acquisition was done at about 1.7 times sales, and Med Advantage was done at about 1 times sales. So, as compared to recent acquisitions that the company has done, it is slightly expensive, but analysts are very bullish and they believe that EPS could increase by 10 to 15% for the coming year.
All right, Rachita, thank you so much for taking us through that. So, Medi Assist was a stock to watch out for in today's trade. But while we're talking about the pharma space, pharma stocks have been on fire, with the pharma index gaining for 3 straight months. In fact, the index has gained for the first 8 months as much as it gained in 2023. Shristi tells us what is driving this optimism. Shristi.
The Nifty Pharma sector is in the pink of health, and what we have seen is that on a YTD basis, Nifty Pharma has clocked almost 34% of the gains, and that's interesting to note that this particular index has actually moved and clocked more gains than what the index registered back in 2023. And not just that, it's just the third straight consecutive month when Nifty Pharma has shown a return in the positive side. But let's understand what factors are play which are leading to the growth and the momentum in this particular index. And firstly, onto the earnings, this time in Q1 FY25 earnings, they have been robust, and it's been good support coming in from the Indian markets as well as from the US markets as well. When it comes to the Indian market, the IPM did register close to 9% of the growth in Q1, and in this particular segments like cardiac and gastro, they did register a double-digit growth as well. When it comes to the US sales, then indeed there has been some growth drivers as well, where the company have launched new products which are gaining traction, and some of their key existing products from the likes of G-Revlimid and stuff, they have been pushing the sales higher. Other than that, it was supported by a better product mix, lower input prices. They also aided the margins, and one of the key concerns was the US price erosion, and that seems to be easing in the US and thus helping the Indian pharma companies as well. But now let's stack up the valuations and let's highlight that which are the companies that are still trading below their 5-year averages and those which are trading above their 5-year averages. On the charts, you will see that though Nifty Pharma, if we look at the valuation, then that is trading at close to 34 times 1 year forward, and that's higher to its 5-year average. But in this Nifty Pharma index, Natco Pharma, Dr. Reddy's, Aurobindo, Cipla as well as Sun Pharma, some of the counters that are trading below their 5-year averages. But on the flip side, if we highlight some of the companies, especially we see companies in the API and the CDMO segment which are now trading above their 5-year averages. Other than that, the commentaries have been on the positive side, thus leading to the momentum in the counters, and stocks like Divi's Lab, Torrent Pharma, Loris, Glenmark and Granules emerge in this particular list. So that's all that's stacking up for the Nifty Pharma index.
All stacking up, and hence it takes pharma to a record pharma index to a record high levels. Thanks, Srishti, for highlighting all those reasons. But then let's get you an interesting report. In fact, Jefferies came up with a report on both stocks. JSW Infra, which surged in trade after this report, especially Jefferies initiating a coverage on the stock. Jefferies also spoke about Adani Ports, but not a very bullish view on the prospects of Gujarat Pipavav. Jinay joins in with all the highlights of this note.
Well, yes, we have a note by Jefferies on India ports. Now, they believe that the trend of private sector port will see double-digit volume growth, which will continue going ahead as well. And they believe that the all India port cargo should rise by 6% CAGR from FY 2026 to FY 30 as well. Now, first, JSW Infrastructure will be in focus as they've initiated a buy rating with a target price of rupees 375. Now, company has a plan to expand its capacity from 2.4 times to 400 million tons by its current capacity of 170 million tons. Jefferies believe that they will be seeing a comfortable 20% plus growth from the current level on the back of group volumes, giving a comfort on utilizations. Jefferies are expecting a 20% EBITDA CAGR excluding potential inorganic opportunities, and they are valuing JSW Infrastructure at 32 times EV EBITDA multiple of Q2 FY 2026 estimates. Moving on, Adani Ports will be in focus if they have maintained the buy rating with a target price of rupees 1,910. They say that the company remains at a dominant market leadership position, holding a 27% market share. They're expecting a 15% plus EBITDA growth on the back of volumes and operating leverage. And lastly, Gujarat Pipavav Port will be in focus. They're maintaining an underperformance rating with the target price of rupees 375. Now, what they believe is that the market has already priced in the concession extension possibility, and they believe that Gujarat Pipavav will find it hard to maintain its share given Adani Port's strong footing over Mundra Port.
Okay, Janai, thank you so much for taking us through that. JSW Infra clearly outperformed the other port stocks in today's trading session. But let me also take it across to my colleague Ashesha, who has a list of another basket of stocks that were abuzz in today's trade. Ashesha.
Tata Technologies, this one was also gaining nearly 5%. In fact, it was not just Tata Technology. Several other Tata Group stocks were gaining in trade today. But first, Tata Technology, where a block deal happened today. Nearly 3.3% equity changed hands via block deals that took place today. About 1,370 crore worth of block deal took place. The stock was gaining nearly 5% on the back of that. JSW Energy, meanwhile, on account of an order win, was up 4%. They received letter of award for setting up 200 megawatt wind solar hybrid power project for Maharashtra State Electricity Company. So on account of this stock was also gaining nearly 3 to 4%. Lastly, MedPlus Health Services up 5.5%. A block deal that had taken place yesterday. Marbach Pincus sold, completely exited out of the company. It sold its 11.5% stake, but we have some new buyers that have come into this. So Government of Singapore, ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund were some of the buyers in this block deal, and hence the stock was gaining nearly 5.5% today.
All right, thanks very much, Ashesha, for getting us all those stocks which were buzzing in trade today on the back of news and block deals, of course. Thanks very much. On this, it's a wrap on this edition of Your Trades. Thanks so much for watching, but for more updates, stay tuned to ET Now.